All right, everybody. Good evening. We've got a little bit of Seattle Seahawks news tonight, although this came out earlier this afternoon. But this is pretty significant for the Seahawks this offseason and for their upcoming season. This is something that's going to take a while to resolve itself. So definitely worth keeping track of this. And I guess this qualifies as good news, although the ramifications of the good news are not necessarily all good. But earlier today, Zach Charbonnet posted this picture on Instagram, and basically, I don't know if he said it in these exact words, but he underwent surgery for the torn ACL, and it looks like he has come out on the other side successfully. So he's had successful ACL surgery, and he now begins a long, long trek to getting ready to play football again. So we like that, but how long is that trek going to take? All right, everybody, before we go any further into this video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about the Sleeper app and some new functionality they've recently rolled out, Team Picks. With Team Picks, you can pick winners in all kinds of sporting events. Right now, we have NBA basketball, college basketball, NHL hockey is going on, baseball's going to start in a little more than a month, and of course, you have futures in the NFL, even though the games in the NFL are over. Right now, if you look to my left here, you can actually see you can bet on next year's Super Bowl winner. They've got the Seahawks leading the way in those odds, by the way, at 12%. How does that make you feel as a Seahawks fan? But you can bet on MVP, you can bet on draft picks, you can bet on player destinations, all kinds of fun stuff, even though the season is over. So that is Team Picks over on Sleeper. A lot of fun stuff you can do. All right, so the first question some people might have is why did it take so long? Charbonnet tore his ACL almost 5 weeks ago, and he's just now having surgery. That's not an uncommon thing, as Corbin Smith mentions here in the tweet. It's not uncommon for such a surgery to happen several weeks after the injury occurred. I know that it varies from injury to injury. Like Jordan Brooks a few years ago tore his ACL and was able to have pretty quick surgery after going down. But in the case of Charbonnet, it took 5 weeks. And some of that may have had to do with his desire to be present for the team during the postseason, even if he couldn't play. I don't know. But regardless, this surgery date that we now know that he's gone through surgery in the last 24 hours or whatever, gives us a frame of reference for when we can expect him to be back on the football field. So, I mean, there's no other way to put it. If he had gotten surgery right after the injury happened, if that had been something that was available to him as an option and he had done that, then we could have maybe had a scenario where he would be ready to come back early in the regular season. But now I think that we can safely conclude we are going to have to get through most of the 2026 season without him, maybe even all of it. Corbin has this tweet here. ACL recoveries typically take 9 months or longer, but Seattle has had a few players return in 8 months in recent years. So um, if Charbonnet returns in 8 months from today, that means he is returning in late October or so, which would be at least 6 to 8 games into the regular season. That's obviously not great because, again, when he comes back, what's he going to be able to do? That first game back, is he going to be able to be effective? That first month back, is he going to be able to be effective? That's the part that's a little bit harder to calculate, but we have a lot of past examples of players off ACL tears. They take a while to get back to where they want to be. So I think that more realistically, Charbonnet is going to be back sometime around late November. I think that would be the smarter assumption. Late November, and maybe we can play him a little bit in that time. Hopefully, we have the luxury of being able to play him a little bit during that period. And he uses the last maybe 5 or 6 games of the regular season to kind of get the feel for football back after presumably he's worked his way up on the practice field in the previous couple of months. And maybe by the postseason, he's ready to really be the plus back that we know that he can be. But there's also a very good chance that 2026 is just kind of a lost season for him, and he's able to use a little bit of it to get into shape and get back into form. But then you don't really get the good Zach Charbonnet until 2027. And 2027, he's going to be a free agent. This upcoming year is the last year of his rookie deal. So it's bad timing for him, and it is bad timing for the team. So it is an L all around. It's obviously good news that he got through the surgery, and it's good news that he can now start the recovery timeline. But it's definitely not good news that he has to deal with this right now, right as he's about to make a play for a big contract in 2027. So this whole thing becomes just a little bit dicey, but one thing is pretty clear. We can't really count on Charbonnet in 2026, and we have to plan to not really have him. So this is why I've become such an advocate for keeping Ken Walker in recent times. It's not because I suddenly love the idea of giving a second contract to a running back. It's because I think we're going to need Walker here because Charbonnet's career as a Seahawk might be kind of sort of, I don't want to say completely done because I think he'll play for us again, but he may never be like a player that we can comfortably lean on again because he's going to be a free agent after the next season. And like I just said, what is 2026 going to look like for him? We know now he's going to miss at least the first half of the year, I would say. I think that would be the safe bet, and probably more. So, frankly, I think that as fans of this team and as as the decision makers on the team, if which obviously we're not one of those, but the decision makers on the team have to kind of move forward thinking that Charbonnet isn't really on the team. This might be a situation where he comes back for a little bit of 2026, shows signs of life, and then maybe he does a 1-year prove it deal for 2027, and then you kind of go from there. So he can basically have the contract year that he's not going to be able to have in 2026. But it's tough, man. It is tough. It is very unfortunate that things had to go this way, but he's at least had the surgery now, so we can start. And he probably will be on a football field again at some point during this upcoming season. It's just, we don't know exactly how long it's going to take. And it's definitely going to be a situation where when he is out there, I don't think he's going to be the Zach Charbonnet that we came to know over these last few years. And look, I'm not saying that 2025 was the best version of Zach Charbonnet. It wasn't, but he was playing really good football at the end of the year, and I think he was starting to really turn a corner as a back behind this offensive line, and then the injury just kind of chopped the legs out from underneath him. All right, so I'm gonna go and get out of here. I plan on streaming tonight over on Twitch, so come check me out over there. Gonna beat Fear 3, might start something else, we'll see. But Charbonnet, successful surgery, it looks like. So he's on the way, but that way is going to take a while. Go Hawks.